back with comedian David Boyale, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I'm going to speak about Atlas Shrugged today. It's a fucking monster of a book, like 1,100 pages, tiny fucking need a magnifying glass lettering, font, lettering, and just fucking dense as fuck. So I don't expect any of you cunts to read it. But it's an incredible fucking book, and since I finished reading it, you look out at the world and you're like, I am in fucking the world of Atlas Shrugged. Train derailments, inept, incompetent government, looters, incompetent cunts, just fucking everywhere. So what's going on in fucking Atlas Shrugged is the government, the incompetence, the fucking political class, the looters, just making it impossible for the fucking producers to produce. The productive members of society to fucking do their job. It all becomes a political fucking game. Kickbacks for friends. A fucking law changed here and there to help out a buddy. And the producers, the fucking industrialists, they for a while just keep going. They're like, all right, there's more bullshit red tape. This is going to affect my business. But they just fucking work through it. And the political class, the leeches, just fucking keep clawing more and more away from them, giving it to their friends, all that sort of shit, which you can obviously tell happens everywhere in our society, as is. So slowly, the most competent, the highest productive members of society start withdrawing from society. They're like, fuck this, you're cutting us off at the knees. Instead of fucking fighting through this and earning for the political class to steal from them, they're like, we're just going to fucking withdraw. So it's not like the working class are withdrawing. It's like the highest productive members of society. And there is, like, it's a fucking known fact that 20% of the workers are responsible for like 80% of the productivity in the world. And I would say it's a lot less than that as well. I would say about the fucking top 8 to 10% are responsible for like fucking 60-70%. You see it everywhere. When I was working in the cranes, there was this steel company we used to work for all the time, and Dan the man, I fucking spoke about it years ago. Dan the fucking man, this Kiwi boy, he was the only reason this fucking business was still alive was this Kiwi guy was doing the work of about 8 to 10 dudes. He was just a fucking absolute fucking diamond. You could have just built a whole fucking company around this one person, and the rest of the boys on site were absolutely fucking useless. They were like me. I'm not here to say I'm a productive member of society. I'm fucking useless. But the thing is, like, Dan was earning the same as these other fat fucks that weren't doing shit. They could barely weld. Dan had like 3 welders going at one point in different places. He was doing it all himself. It was fucking insane. So that's what I'm talking about, like the productive members of society. So that's just a little example. But in the book Atlas Shrugged, they're talking about like the most productive members of society. Like the guys and the girls, like the main character's a girl. A chick, Dagny. Dagny fucking Taggart. She sounds hot too, and she gets fucking slammed in it. It's worth reading just to hear the slammings. Anyway, in Atlas Shrugged, they're talking about like the top level of the most productive fucking members of society. Like the Elon Musk type class. Like, you can't just replace Elon Musk. You think about it. I always used to think about it. I used to work for this fucking cafe, and it was a huge chain. It had like 50 fucking cafes in all the hospitals around Australia. And the dude who owned it was a fucking like, he must have had half a bill or something. He was rich as fuck. And I always thought that you could just replace that guy out. Like, I could go from making the coffee to this cunt. Like, just fucking trade me out. I thought it was that simple. But that guy disappeared for like 3 months. Just went overseas, had some other shit to do. And the whole fucking thing almost fell apart because this cunt wasn't running it. So there's like specific members of society, and I'd never thought about it before I read this book, that are just the fucking producers. They're the ones that fucking keep humanity going. If I was in charge of anything, it would be finished immediately. I can barely keep a 5-minute a day podcast afloat. So yeah, back to the book. All these high-level industrialists, the competent cunts, the ones that are running shit, running companies, the entrepreneurs, let's call them the entrepreneur class. They kept going as long as they possibly could, but the fucking political class kept on fucking them over. More red tape, more laws they had to fucking deal with, more taxes, capping the pricing. They take control of the resources, start allocating it to fucking their friends and shit like that. The political class thought the same thing as well. You can just trade out one guy for another. Like everything's equal. One guy isn't better than another guy. And so the productive class just starts withdrawing and shit starts falling apart pretty fucking quickly. Because what happens is they try and replace the productive cunts, the entrepreneurs, with the baristas. They're trying to replace Elon Musk with me. I go to SpaceX and I'm like, hey, what's going on, cunts? I was the janitor. I am now the CEO. What's going on? What time's lift off? Because I'm starting to get a little bit hungry. Is it soon? Who's in charge of this shit? And I just start firing cunts. I'm like, you're out. My mate Shawnee's in. Shawnee, come here. So shit just starts falling apart in Atlas Shrugged. It's almost identical to what's fucking happening on Earth right now. I mean, the book's based in New York and the US, but you know what I mean? Every time I leave the house now, I'm just confronted with sheer fucking incompetency. Incompetency and apathy. Just no one gives a fuck anymore. So yeah, everything just fucking fell apart and the politicians take over. The political class, and they have no fucking idea what they're doing. They only know how to play politics. That's their only fucking skill. They're like leeches on society. The political class, the bureaucrats, all that sort of shit. They add no value. So everyone who's adding value, the producers, withdraw, and it just becomes a fucking nightmare. Trains derailing, chemical spills, explosions, all sorts of shit because the people who know what they're doing aren't there. And it's left to the incompetents to fucking steer the ship. And it just made me think, it's like, that's why communism will probably never work in practice, because you need to convince those productive members of society, the entrepreneurs, the ones who get shit done, the ones who create things, you need to get them to work for you with no incentive. We're not paying you. You're getting paid as much as the fucking janitor. You're getting paid as much as Boyale, but you're going to be doing 80% of the work. So you need to convince them to come on board with communism. It's easy to get a first, second year fucking uni student into communism because they fucking don't leave the house. They don't do anything. They're not productive members of society. It's easy to get intellectuals on board with communism as well because they also don't produce anything except some fucking intellectual bullshit. They don't know how to do anything either. They haven't left the halls of university. You know what I mean? It's easy to get the workers on board for communism or socialism because what have they got to lose? Who you're going to have trouble getting on board is the people who fucking build everything. What they can do is the people who build the world, they can withdraw from society and create their own utopia without the intellectuals and without all the fucking dropkick workers and without all the fucking uni students. They can just go over there and just build and create. You know what I mean? You think you're making a utopia over here, but they're the ones that could make the utopia. If they ditched all of us, if they fucked us off, they would be fine. They would figure it out. You take a few engineers, a few architects, a few surgeons or something like that, What else do you need? It doesn't really matter. As long as you know how to fucking get shit done, you'll be fine. It's fucking... It's actually very funny because... I was always like, why wouldn't socialism work? Why wouldn't fucking communism work in practice? Do you know why? Here's the ironic thing. Because you need the capitalists. To make communism work, you need the capitalists to get involved. That is beautiful. That's what life is. It's a contradiction. Although there are no contradictions. That's what Atlas Shrugged said. There's no contradictions. The other thing is, like the society we're living in at the moment, no matter where you are, it's not a capitalist society. It's like a fucking Frankenstein version of it, mixed with like some socialism, some communism, capitalism. It's a mishmash. Once the government starts putting subsidies on shit, caps, all that sort of shit, like handouts, that's communism or Marxism. I don't know the difference between socialism, communism, all that. Just call it the same thing. You're getting something given to you for free, which isn't actually free. It gets taken from someone else. Basically, as soon as the government starts interfering with the economy, it becomes communism or socialism or whatever. This is way above my fucking pay grade, but I'm just throwing it out there. It's my fucking podcast. What are you going to do about it, cunts? I can say ignorant shit if I fucking feel like it. What are you going to do about it? Complain? I don't give a fuck. You fucking spend 5 weeks trying to read Atlas Shrugged, the thickest book fucking you've ever read. See how you fucking like it. It's actually a great book. You got to read it. It changed my view on a few things. It made me realize how valuable that entrepreneur class is. The cunts that can just whip up a business and fucking start doing shit. They take on a giant burden for society. I'd never even thought about it. I'm like, fuck that cunt starting a business, making money and shit. And then I thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to start a business. Do you know how much hard work that is? Fuck that. That cunt can do it, but I'm still going to hate him for the money he has. Anyway, that'll fucking do. Go read Atlas Shrugged. If you're enjoying the podcast, give it a share around, and I'll see you the fuck later.